Rabbeinu Bechaya, Ibn Pekuda, Rabbeinu Bechaya the first, the author of the Chovat HaLevavot, this incredible book written nearly 1,000 years ago, that speaks to the obligations that we, Jewish people, have in our heart towards Hashem. That is to say, for the most part, Judaism focuses on the actions that we are supposed to perform. If you feel bad for a person in need, it doesn't feed them. It's very nice of you to feel bad, but the people are hungry. When it comes to the mitzvah of tzedakah, instead of giving somebody pity, and instead of commiseration, what should we do? Give them the money, give them the food, help them. Exactly. You have to actually perform the mitzvah of tzedakah. And to spend the night of Pesach discussing the concept of self-abnegation and self-effacement, but not actually eating matzah, will not feed your faith. You have to do the mitzvah. Having said that, there are certain mitzvahs which can only be fulfilled in our hearts. These are things like loving Hashem, things like being in awe of and revering and respecting Hashem. This is called Ahavat Hashem, Yiras Hashem. And Rabbeinu Bechaya maintains that one of the things which is, as they say in Spanish, you think I'm going to say Yiddish, huh? Más importante, most important, is bitachon. Más importante, he says, it's extremely, extremely important that we have trust in Hashem. And he says it can change your life. Rabbeinu Bechaya taught, and the Rebbes of Chabad Lubavitch followed this in a very serious way, that if we have trust in Hashem, it actually brings about miraculous salvation. Trusting Hashem, vesting your absolute total reliance on God, can literally make a world of difference in your own life. Which is why it's so important to build trust. And building trust is not about lip service. Telling everybody you trust in Hashem is actually meaningless. You have to actually feel it in your heart. And it means, according to Rabbeinu Bechaya, to be 100% calm, cool, collected, relaxed, have no anxiety, no concern, no worry about what will be. So I'm relying on Hashem. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't take action. It doesn't mean we're not obligated to do our part. It means that our actions are requisite, are required by Torah, but just because we do things doesn't mean it's going to result in the intended destination. What we do can become a vehicle. It can become what you call a convention, an envelope to contain Hashem's bracha. So here's another bitachon story. And this story helps us to understand how our bitachon can bring results which necessarily require thousands of moving pieces. You heard about the butterfly theory? A butterfly flaps his wings in the South China Sea, and there's a clap of thunder in Ontario. I'm oversimplifying, but it's a real theory. It's proven today. So how could my bitachon, right now, right here, make a difference when there's so many things, so many causes and effects, so many dominoes that have to fall in order for this to happen right here, right now? The Baal Shem Tov was once on a very, very quiet, lonely journey with only one Talmud, only one disciple. The disciple's name was Rabbi Mendel Bar. Rabbi Mendel did not have a big following after. He remained ever a Talmud, ever a disciple. And as they're walking, Rabbi Mendel is gripped by this intense thirst. And he says to the Baal Shem Tov, I'm really thirsty. So the Baal Shem Tov said to him, if you have bitachon, Hashem will make sure you get what to drink. So Rabbi Mendel said, just like that? Yes, said the Baal Shem Tov. Stop worrying, stop being concerned. You'll see. So the man resolved to listen to his Rebbe, and he didn't give it a second thought. He was sure that when he'll need a drink will show up. And they're trudging along this highway, and they take a left or right at a fork of the road, and all of a sudden they see a man in the distance. And the man comes closer, and the man says, did you happen to see my horses? 3 horses were lost a few days ago, and I'm looking for my 3 horses. Did you see the horses? So this part of the story hasn't come to us. I don't know if they did or didn't see the horses. But the Mendel says to the fellow, do you happen to have a canteen with some water? We probably wouldn't do this in COVID, but the man said, yeah, I got a big canteen. Sure, I'm happy to share my water with you. And he hands up the canteen, the Mendel makes a bracha, and he drinks the water. And he hands him back his canteen, and he goes off in search of his horses, and the Mendel and the Baal Shem Tov continue to walk. So the Mendel turns around to the Baal Shem Tov, he says, I don't understand. This guy lost his horses several days ago. He's been wandering around looking for his horses. I only got thirsty a half hour ago. You only told me to have bitachon 10 minutes ago. How does that work? So the Baal Shem Tov said that you must understand, Hashem had everything arranged in the event that you would have bitachon. In other words, the horses got lost. This man left with lots of water. Everything was already in place. In order for it to come to you, you had to have bitachon. You had to have trust in Hashem. You had the trust, you got the drink. Which means that as we go through life's journeys, we have to know that Hashem has already arranged all of the answers. The way for us to get it is to live with bitachon, with absolute trust and certainty that Hashem will provide for us. L'chaim.